Hey guys, a couple of you might be having trouble with writing these formulas. I know one person turned the assignment in for Thursday, and so these are ions because they're atoms with a charge, plus one, negative one. The ones inside parentheses are called poly meaning multiple atom ions, which means there's several atoms clustered together, but they act as if they're one ion and they have their own unique charge, or they act as if they're one atom with their own unique charge. So the way to write formulas is that these ion charges have to equal zero, and you have to sometimes have more than one unit of an atom or a polyatomic ion to get the charges to equal zero. And when everything's equaling zero, that's when you know you have your correct formula. And the positive ions are always written before the negative anions. So here for HCl, I started this one because it was kind of hard doing this in Cami. H is a plus one. Bring that over. Cl down is a negative one. Plus one, negative one equals zero. So therefore your formula is just HCl. Okay, and the same thing would be true for sodium. Plus one, negative one equals zero, so your formula is just NaCl. Calcium, on the other hand, is a plus two and chlorine's a negative one. So if I do calcium with a plus two charge, and I do chlorine with a negative one charge, this does not equal zero. Plus two is like you have $2, you owe $1, you're still $1 to the good. So that does not equal zero. So if we were in person, I would put some lines here on the chalkboard or on the whiteboard. And then down below, I would put a number that says plus two. And over here, it would be, I would need a negative two to equal zero. So, what number times a plus two would give me a plus two? That would be a one, because one times positive two gives me positive two. What number can I put here to take one times some number equals two? That would be a two. And right here, this part right here is your formula, CaCl2. I'm going to try to draw, see if I can do this, if it'll work. No, didn't switch to a pencil. Okay. So this part right here is your actual formula, okay? CaCl2. Now, if there's just one atom or one polyatomic ion, you do not have to write the one behind it. So in your box here, you would simply write, get a text box, that's not what I want. Let me go back and erase that. So it's shifting between these tools is kind of difficult. So you can do yours on paper. I don't want to see this on the bottom of your Cami sheet online. I'm just doing it here so you can see what I'm coming up with this. So this is going to be CaCl, and for some reason, this is not letting me do a subscript in here. So I'm just going to put a 2 back there. And if you have to do the same, I will understand that that's a subscript. Okay, CaCl2. Now, let me go and do a polyatomic ion here. NH4 those atoms stay together and act like one atom, and they have one charge. Okay, so let me do NH, and it won't let me do a subscript for some reason. NH4 close parenthesis, and this here is a +1. And then over here I want to do carbonate, which is going to be a -2, and it's also a polyatomic ion, CO3 close parentheses. Now these numbers that are in parentheses, they stay inside the parentheses, and you do not add more numbers inside the parentheses. If you have to have an extra unit, they go outside the parentheses. So 1 and -2 still do not equal 0. So I'm going to add a line there. I'm going to add a line here. And I need to know what down here will give me a +2. Now the other thing I forgot to say is, how am I coming up with these +2s and -2s? That is the smallest number both of the 2 and 1 will go into. You want to find like a least common multiple there, a number that they will both divide into to keep your numbers as small as possible. So the smallest number that 1 and 2 will both go into is 2. So I'm going to have a +2 here, and I'm going to need a -2 there. So what number times the +1 will give me a +2? That is going to be a 2. And then what number times -2 will give me a -2? That's going to be a 1. So you need 2 units of NH4, you need 1 unit of CH3. And the way you can write this in here is everything in the parentheses stays in the parentheses. NH4 close parenthesis. I need 2 units of that. So I'm going to put a 2 right here. And then the next thing is my parenthesis for the CO3. And that's all that goes in there. I can't add more numbers inside the parentheses. And I just need 1 unit of that. So I could put a 1 there, but if you just need 1 unit, you don't have to put the 1 in. It's understood to be there. So that's how you do these. So these numbers here have to add up and equal 0. And when they don't, you have to add groups of these atoms or polyatomic ions to get enough charges to balance each side out. And one way of doing that is by figuring out what you can multiply them by to get it to equal 0. And that's how many you need of each kind. Another way of doing this, which is a little bit longer, and this is the mathematical way, you could say I have Ca with a +2 charge, and then I have Cl with a -1 charge. And I know that +2 and -1 does not equal 0. So I could say, okay, I'm going to have to get to equal 0, I'm going to have to add another -1 charge. And if you write it out like this, you can do that for the basic ones, but it gets more complicated when you have the polyatomic ions. That's why I would defer to write them out, put a line behind each one of those, figure out what's the smallest number both charges will go into. That's how many you have to have of each, and make that equal 0. Okay. Let me do one more hard one for you. See how much time how long this is, because sometimes they don't upload. 10:13. I'm getting close. Okay. So we're going to do MgPO43. So Mg is a +2. And I'll put my line right there. And PO4 is a -3. So the smallest number that 3 and 2 will both go into is a 6, okay? You can multiply them together and see if that's the smallest number they will go into. So instead of having to make all these text boxes up, I'm going to go and drop down and do a I'm going to go back up. If that's going to let me erase that or not. That would be my issue. All right. I need a +6 right there. I've got one box dropped in. That's what's causing me problems here. So let me start another one over here. PO4 is a -3, so I have a -3 charge there. PO4 is a polyatomic ion, and the number that 2 and 3 will both go into is a 6. Let me go down one more. So I need a -6 here, and I also need a number, hang on. I need a line right here. Okay. So +2 and -3. The smallest number that they will both divide into evenly is 6. So I need to know how many magnesiums do I need to get an overall +6 charge. One magnesium has 2, so 2 magnesium will have 4. That means I need 3 right here. Okay, it's shifted down, but it needs to be, this is not being very friendly, user friendly. There we go. So I need 3 magnesium to get a +6 charge. Here, each PO4 unit has a -3 charge. So how many units of that do I need to get a total charge of -6? I need 2 of those. So my formula ends up being, and this is going to be hard for me to draw, but I'm going to try for you. My formula ends up being this part right here. When you put those numbers in, that gives you the subscripts you need in the formula. So I'm going to go back to a text box. Oops. No. Resume. Now it canceled us. So I'm going to go back up here, and in where the magnesium meets with the PO4, I'm going to type Mg, and because my subscript's not working for some reason, I'm going to put Mg3 parenthesis PO4 close parenthesis. I have no idea what happened there. I need MgPO4. I have MgPO4. And I need to put a close parenthesis there. And after that close parenthesis, I'm going to put a 2 for 2 units of that. Now the 3 and the 2 should be subscripts. For whatever reason, it's not letting me do that. So you can do the same thing as I'm doing, okay? So I kind of hope this helps you understand how to write these bigger formulas. And the test is probably going to be on Tuesday. I'm going to give you time to watch this, and I'll put something on there for you to make a comment on to get your attendance. If you have questions, you need to send me an email, and I'll go ahead and post this on Sunday so you can start studying it and try to get that assignment done from Thursday if you don't have it done. Okay, thank you.